My friends, lots of things to work on. And they're being worked on. Because we elected the right guy president. My name is Howard Riell. You've happened upon the show Real Truth. I congratulate you. I welcome you. And I have to tell you that Donald Trump is fixing things that Barack Obama, you remember him, Barack Hussein Obama? He used to be president. He laid a whole bunch of landmines for America. And Trump is removing those landmines. What am I referring to? I'm glad you asked. Item from Breitbart. An Obama created loophole for foreign nationals wanting to come to the United States to start a business has been halted for at least a year by the Trump administration. The international, international entrepreneur rule was put in place 2 years ago by then President Obama through executive order, essentially creating a new visa program for foreign nationals without approving it by Congress. Instead of coming to the U.S. on an employer-sponsored visa, such as a green card or an H-1B visa, foreign nationals wanting to start businesses here were given leave to remain in the country for at least 2.5 years. In an order by the Department of Homeland Security, Secretary John Kelly announced that the program would be stopped to at least March of next year, unquote. So, my friends, when we are extremely vetting people coming here, it means we don't want people coming here that we don't know anything about. This program was one of Barack Obama's methods for kind of pushing open the door a little bit so more people could flood through, to America's detriment, to our economy's detriment, to American workers' detriment. Trump has fixed that. Now, no doubt you heard about this on CNN and MSNBC and CBS, right? You heard this story already? No, you didn't. You didn't hear about this. This is a powerful step that Trump has taken to fix a gaping hole in our economy and in our security. The major media, the lips pressed against Barack Obama's backside media, they're not going to tell you about this. Because they don't want you to know about it, because they don't like it. And they don't like Trump, and they don't like, to be quite blunt, they don't like you or me. Well, I'll tell you what. Now that the mainstream media can no longer press its lips up against Barack Obama's butt, I invite them to press their lips against my butt. Because I'm here to try and guide America back to a place of safety and prosperity. I think that's why you're listening to the show, because you want the same thing. The major media doesn't. And that's why we've got to break and defeat the major media. This is Real Truth, my friends. Go nowhere.
The American Green Card. The check will come about 175, John Collins, 805, 175, John Collins, 805, help us, voice, 3, on. You're invited to join the Beth Messiah congregation to celebrate Passover 2014 on Monday, April 14th at the Ramada Plaza Hotel in Northwood. You have your choice of a delicious lamb or turkey entree. Adults at $56, children 9 through 12 are $20, children 6 through 9 are $18, and children under 5 are free. Deadline for making reservations is Friday, April the 4th. Call 1-800-205-6245 and make your reservation for Passover now. That's 1-800-205-6245. That's the spirit, but the spirit of God, that many false prophets have gone into the world. Like this, you will know the spirit of God. Every spirit that confesses that Yeshua, Jesus, has come in the flesh is of God, and every spirit that does not confess that Yeshua, Jesus, has come in the flesh is not of God. And this is the spirit of the Antichrist, which you have already heard was coming and is now already in the book of John 4:1.
My friends, welcome back. My name is Howard Riell. The show is called Real Truth, and the emphasis is on real, not just because that's my last name, but because I want real, honest-to-goodness truth and not fake news. That's the one thing you won't find here. Newt Gingrich earlier this morning on the Laura Ingraham Show. Go. All right, my friends, let me interrupt. I apologize. How do we stop the leaks in the White House? Only one way that I can see. You find someone who's a leaker, and you put them in jail for 30 or 40 freaking years. And the rest of Washington looks on and goes, holy smoke! I don't want any part of that. And then the leaks stop. Find a leaker or two, make horrific examples of them. Then we'll go back to normalcy. Let's go back to the show. But my friends, the question is bigger than that. It's not, are you for Trump or not? It's, are you for America or not? Because if you're gumming up the works of government, if you're preventing the government from accomplishing things for the American people, then you're not for America. Some people would use the word treason. And that's what these people are guilty of. Plus, they're just plain old breaking the law. Again, you got to start jailing them, and I mean with stiff penalties. Now, my friends, that is some intelligent analysis. Maybe I'll come back to it after we take this commercial break. In the meantime, from InfoWars, an elderly couple just had their entire life's work confiscated by the IRS without trial, without conviction, without any charges even being brought in court. When Daniel Webster and Chief Justice John Marshall said the power of the tax is the power to destroy, they didn't even imagine the legal fiction of civil asset forfeiture that the IRS, DEA, and other federal bureaucracies operate under. Unquote. My friends, I've talked about civil asset forfeiture on the show before. It is theft. The fact that it's being done by our government matters not. This is something I want you to look into. I want you to call. Call your politicians. State, local level, on the federal level. Call them and tell them that it's time for this concept, civil asset forfeiture, to go the way of the dodo. We'll be right back.
And the Word became flesh and dwelt among us, and we beheld his glory. The glory as of the only begotten of the Father, full of grace and truth. John bore witness of him and cried out, saying, This was he of whom
I'm right? Right.
He who comes after me is preferred before me, for he was before me. The Gospel of John, chapter 1.
I'll tell you,
14 and 15.
if people would get on the asses of their senators, congressmen, mayors, governors, a lot would get done. I know from inside, from being a reporter and covering politics 1,000 years ago in New York, that politicians are they're a fearful bunch. And if they start hearing in even relatively large numbers from their constituents, they care. They're worried. They don't want anybody frowning. And so if you would just contact your politicians, it might actually do some good. What's the worst that could happen? You'll feel better for doing it. It'll cost you the price of a phone call, which these days isn't that much. So try it. You'll like it. Back to radio silence.
Call 352-130. On the air because they care. This beautiful hospital improved. Fuller's restaurant. Over 755 chickens were cooked last year. Over 58,000 of these were cooked by non-protein. Keep an eye out for youngsters that play, and if you see anything suspicious, contact the authorities immediately. This message from Pickle Restaurant in Denver. Not only the best in town in Pickle, it's the people who care. Give them a call at 303-757-5166. 303-757-5166.
My friends, welcome back to Real Truth. No conversation about dirtbags in D.C. would be complete without mentioning John McCain. This old fool, this jackass, has been trying to dig up dirt on Donald Trump. I guess that McCain would have preferred to have Hillary Clinton as president. In fact, I know he would. Here's Rush Limbaugh inveighing against, said Mr. McCain. What does that mean? Hello?
You're back on.
All right, I'm back on, guys. Let's rejoin Rush Limbaugh. Already in progress. My friends, I used to ride the subways in New York City every day. And invariably, at least once a week, you'd see some homeless, unfortunate individual completely out of his mind yammering about God knows what. Now, what he was saying was not interesting because it was just babble. But the fact that a human being had fallen to that level and was stark staring crazy and attempting to convince his fellow New York, that in itself was interesting. The stuff about Donald Trump, the stuff about Donald Trump Jr., that's nonsense. Nobody cares about that. That's crap. But to watch an obsessed, fixated major media, global media, multi-billion-dollar media obsessed, like an OCD patient who can't stop washing his hands, I find that fascinating. This is the self-destruction of the major media. They're falling forward on their own fake news swords. And because they're so witless and so humorless and so without perspective, they don't even know that they are the wacko on a subway train. We'll be back.
The American people to check about 175 down color 805 175 805 help us
Now this is the testimony of John, the Jews sent three from Levites from Jerusalem to ask him, "Who are you?" He confessed and did not deny, but confessed, "I am not the Messiah." And they asked him, "What then? Are you Elijah?" He said, "I am not." "Are you the prophet?" And he answered, "No." The Gospel of John, chapter 1, verse 19 to 21.
The associates that your 24-hour not yet no one anywhere more noble, righteous, justice, or courageous than our United States Armed Forces. These brave men and women and their families, with the bill for our freedom every day, and the military care packages today to let them know that they are in our hearts and our prayers and our thoughts. This message from the associates at your 24-hour Walmart Supercenter on Highway 487 in Lafayette. They're on the air because they care.
You look at this locker plan and reminds us that the drug problem is well documented. We know our kids will be approached at early age. We want to inform the youngsters in our community who have had the that no truth. They provide examples to their peers and families to be the best they can be. That's from Elizabeth Locker Plant, located at 366 Grand Street in the Woods, serving our area since 1943 and specializing in naturalized THC and pork and complete custom processing. Call 303-688-2240. That's 303-688-2240. We, the people of the United States, in order to form a more perfect union, establish justice, ensure domestic tranquility, provide for the common defense, promote the general welfare, and secure the blessings of liberty for ourselves and our posterity, to ordain and establish this Constitution for the United States of America.
Have their feminist panties in a knot. Wait, Canada's liberal elite have their feminist panties in a knot. All
right, guys, welcome back to Real Truth. I am indeed Howard Riell, and I got a question for you. How much do you like multiculturalism? Do you like it a lot? Are you glad that people from the third world are flooding into the country? Well, what would you give up? What would you sacrifice in order to make sure that keeps happening? What are you willing to give so that immigrants will continue? So from the Middle East, the Muslim immigrants will continue coming into the country. Are you willing to let yourself or your loved ones be hit over the head with a hockey stick? What's that you say? Preposterous? Couldn't happen? Here's Faith Goldie.
Wait, Canada's liberal elite have their feminist panties in a knot? Is it because their refugees have been throwing rocks at Canadian kids? Are they upset because 95% of their refugees still can't speak English or French? Or maybe they're bothered by the fact that their refugees have been physically assaulting and sexually harassing Canadian kids on publicly funded schoolyards? Yeah, nope, none of those things. It's over a tweet. Heavy hitters from Canada's self-styled feminist Liberal Party, as well as their cronies in the media on both sides of the 49th, well, they're coming out in full force to attack a female member of Parliament for talking about a case of domestic abuse against a female in Canada. Why? Because apparently it's uncouth to discuss domestic abuse if it's a Syrian refugee doing the beating. Here, let me explain. So, to date, Canada's feminist Prime Minister, Justin Trudeau, has welcomed over 40,000 Syrian migrants to this country. And, well, Trudeau's refugee program has received a lot of praise from multi-culti globalist shills worldwide in politics, media, and elsewhere. One such moment came from an Australian TV program, Dateline, titled Canada's Open House. In it, they showed the supposed integration of one Syrian family, Mohammed Rafia, his wife Ragda, and their 4 children, into a small Canadian town. But what was supposed to be a glowing documentary of how a country's open doors is good for one and all, well, it turned out to be really the inverse effect. Mohammed, well, he describes his new town in which his whole family is sponsored and housed, not on his dime, as something akin to Guantanamo Bay. He does so while demanding to continue living rent-free.
لما نطلع على سجن غنتنم ومحطوط الجزيرة هو أنه كانوا نفس الشيء. ساحة الأرض هاي نلعب فيها وقاعدين فيها وما نقدر نروح ولا نجي ولا لأنه يعني قرية تفتقر كل شيء يعني. أقول هنا الأوراق على اللي استلمتها في الأردن.
Then the doc devolves into this really eerie timeline wherein the narrator describes how the couple doesn't seem to get along with each other and how the wife can't get through English classes without her Syrian migrant husband breathing down her neck.
Their teacher also struggles with the fact that when it's time for Mohammed's wife, Ragda, to have a go,
Hello, how are you?
he hovers over her,
Good.
answers the questions for her.
Hi,
I am good.
Hi, I am good. I am good.
Ragda, you don't do your lessons with Mohammed?
We don't get along, to be frank.
The weirdest part, when the Syrian migrant sponsor seems to suggest that there's more to the Syrian couple's story, stuff that she's been made aware of, but doesn't admit to camera.
I'm suddenly privy to all of the intricate workings of a family. I grapple with knowing information that I don't want to know.
Well, not long after that glowing and also bizarre doc on Canada's Open Doors policy did the Rafia family name pop up in Canadian press once again. But this time, the report was a little less lustrous. Mohammed Rafia, now having spent 14 months in Canada, pleaded guilty to counts of assault, causing bodily harm, and uttering threats. Turns out Mohammed had been threatening to kill his wife, pulling her hair when it wasn't protected behind her hijab. He slapped her and beat her, and hey, since he's a new Canadian, his wife being weapon of choice wasn't a miswhack, that stick that Mohammed described as ideal for beating your wife with. No, Mr. Rafia has taken to Canadian culture so much that his weapon of choice with which to beat his wife was a hockey stick.
Now, you see, my friends, here's a libel against the Islamic people. People say Muslims come to countries and don't assimilate, but this guy has assimilated to Canada perfectly. He's even picked up the national sport, hockey. So when he decides to beat and brutalize his wife, he uses a local symbol, a hockey stick, because now he's a Canadian. Let me tell you why I don't feel so bad about this. I don't feel so bad about it because it's in Canada. It's not here. But if the Democrats have their way, it will be coming here more than it already is. Oh, we already have Muslims beating the crap out of their wives and doing other unconscionable things. The Democrats want more, many more coming here. I'll tell you something, very literally, the only thing standing between us and a wave, a tsunami of third world Muslim immigrants coming here, beating their own wives, beating your wife, raping your daughter, raping your son, torching your cousin. The only thing between us and that is the Trump administration. This is real life, my friends. This is not political theory. This is not economics. This is life on our streets and our communities. We can continue to bring in these unleashed pit bulls or not. Which do you think makes more sense? Let's listen to a little bit more of Faith Goldie.
But Mohammed Rafia, well, he said he didn't know that beating your wife with a hockey stick was against the law here in Canada. And, well, he blamed us for not having explained that to him. So, in response to all this, a conservative female MP, Kelly Leach, someone who has spoken out at length about the need to screen our migrants for so-called Canadian values. You know, values like not beating your wife. Someone who has also been a doctor and has served as federal minister for the status of women. Well, she sent out this tweet linking to a story covering this illegal and barbaric beating involving a bloodied hockey stick in the hands of one of Trudeau's refugees. And, well, what does the radical left do? Do they engage? Hell, do they even simply ignore the tweet? No. They accuse Miss Leach of being just as bad as Mohammed, the Syrian wife beater.
So here's how liberals think. The wife beater is okay, but this woman is so bad, she's just as bad as the wife beater. Do you get the logic there? The logic that comes from some far-flung dimension in another galaxy. He's not bad, but you're bad because you're just like him. That's liberal thought. That's why we need to guard against liberal thought. That's the liberal thinking. That's the drilling in the hole in your half of the lifeboat. That's the kind of thinking that has brought America low and will continue to do so unless we get active to prevent it from doing so. Now, my sympathies to Faith Goldie and the other normal people in Canada, because they just elected a wingnut as Prime Minister. What can I tell you? We'll take a break, and we'll be back with more Real Truth.
And of his fullness he hath called this, and fixed for praise. The law was completed. Grace and truth came through Yeshua HaMashiach, Jesus the Christ. No one has seen God at any time. The only begotten Son, who is in the bosom of the Father, he has declared him. The Gospel of John, chapter 1, verse 16. Article 4. The right of the people to be secure in their persons, houses, papers, and effects against unreasonable searches and thieves shall not be violated, and no warrant shall be issued but upon probable cause, supported by oath or affirmation, and particularly describing the places to be searched and the persons or things to be seen. If catastrophe struck, would your family be prepared? Are you confident you wouldn't react in a panic? Is there one place to get all of your emergency supplies? Barris Survival encourages you to have confidence through preparation, not panic through crisis. Barris Survival, located at 3366 South Broadway, is a professional, reputable, full-service business providing quality, realistic preparedness supplies at an affordable price. Go online, stop by, or call 303-781-0343. Barris Survival. American Window Tinting Incorporated in Franktown reminds parents, keep an eye on your child while shopping. Children tend to stray or become lost. This poses an opportunity for a would-be abductor. Please make every effort to keep track of your little ones at all times. If you have information regarding a lost child, call local authorities at once. This message is from American Window Tinting Incorporated in Franktown. For residential or commercial window tinting, call 303-263-4228.
Guys, welcome back. Howard Riell, Real Truth. All right, let's quickly go to this video clip. This is from Fox News. Judge Jeanine Pirro with her guests Jason Chaffetz and Tommy Lahren. Go, Judge.
Now is former congressman from Utah and current Fox News contributor Jason Chaffetz. Good evening. Do I still call you congressman?
Oh, you call me Jason. Call me whatever you want, Judge.
No, I get it. It's good to have you on tonight, Jason, and welcome to the Fox family. All right, so right now, what I'm concerned about is the message to law enforcement, what has happened in terms of the normalization of cop hatred.
Well, look, there are a lot of reasons why Donald Trump became the president of the United States, and I think the law enforcement component was a big part of it. President Trump went over to Europe and talked about putting America first, made in America, American exceptionalism. Then you have the mayor of New York City go over there and say that Donald Trump, as the president, doesn't represent the United States of America. I mean, that is so infuriating and so fundamentally totally wrong. It is an embarrassment to this country. I can't believe that the citizens of New York City put up with this guy in doing that. It just undercut the president, and it should never have ever happened.
Well, you know what's interesting, Congressman, is the fact that, I'm calling you Congressman, that his press person said it is important that American leaders, I assume he's talking about de Blasio, confront head-on, locally and around the world, the damaging rhetoric and policy stances of the Trump administration. I mean, as if he thinks this guy should be on the world stage. And by the way, one of those popular newspapers in New York says, de Blasio, don't come back.
Yeah, I saw that. The New York Post, I think they actually got it right. Look, you had a police officer assassinated. You have 500 plus new cadets coming into the system, and the mayor is running off to join a protest where you have literally these anarchists who are fighting and hitting and trying to cause damage to police officers who are just trying to create peace. And Donald Trump is over there as the president of the United States, supporting our NATO allies, talking about the need to fight ISIS, trying to squelch the uprising that's happening in North Korea. All of these things that America does believe in, and the New York mayor is over there leading the protests of those that are fighting the cops, causing more than 200 people, police officers in Germany, to have to go to the hospital.
So what do we do about this?
Well, you got to draw attention to it. It's infuriating.
All right, here's the answer, Judge. And when you say we, I trust you don't mean just people on television and politicians. What do we, the American people, do? Well, we wise up, we get smarter. You know, I'm from New York, my friends, and I am deeply ashamed of the fact that my fellow New Yorkers are profoundly stupid enough to have elected a rectum like de Blasio to be mayor. New Yorkers, I like to think of as smart, sharp, practical people. But they don't vote that way. They vote for Democrats. They vote for liberal idiots. It never ceases to amaze me how the New York I grew up in goes Democrat. I just don't get it. So how do we fix what's going wrong with our elected officials? We elect better officials. We wean ourselves off of voting for Democrats. We vote for conservative politicians. We vote for politicians that don't lie to us and don't pander to us. We vote for politicians that have enough character to tell us unpopular truths. That's how. And the only part I don't like about de Blasio not going back to New York is that if he doesn't do that, he might come here. And who the hell needs him here? Back to the judge.
It is absolutely wrong. And you know what? It's not just a New York City issue. Even us out here in Utah, and I'm sure all across the country, are absolutely embarrassed by this mayor taking it onto himself, thinking he represents the United States of America. He does not represent the values of the United States of America.
Well, not only does he not represent the values of the United States, but he's working against those values.
Yeah.
He doesn't believe in capitalism. He thinks that he's this socialist leader. And what's amazing is, you know, he held until 90 minutes before he left the fact that he was, you know, blowing town to go to Germany. I mean, he's very secretive and he's very cagey about who he is and what he's doing. What do you think this guy thinks he's ultimately going to end up?
I don't know. I would love to know who paid for that trip. Where did he stay? I don't think he was sitting back in coach eating peanuts along the way.
Well, he's saying that the organization paid for him to go there, but we taxpayers are paying for a security detail. We sent 4 there about 5 days ago, and there's another 4 traveling with him, so he's got 8 security detail we're paying for it, and also his whole detail, the press people, you know, all of those guys we're paying for. So, you know, it's
by the way, Judge, you're also paying him to be mayor, and now he's not being mayor. He's on the other side of the world. Count that against him, too.
But let me ask you this. When Donald Trump says law enforcement and the military did a spectacular job in Hamburg, everybody felt totally safe despite the anarchists, what do you think he can do coming back home to help the police in this country?
Well, look, I think his mere presence has totally helped the Border Patrol, the Secret Service, the law enforcement community at large. Donald Trump has said, look, we're going to get more resources, more effort behind you. We love you. We're committed to you. And that has resonated. You can feel the difference. That it's just, it is palatable how much better it is with Donald Trump. Because
he means it's palpable, but I don't want to criticize him on the air. Item from Breitbart, a longtime associate of a U.S.-based Islamist terrorist organization called Muslims of America has been arrested in Johnson City, New York. Authorities discovered he had a large cache of weapons inside a storage locker. Unquote. My friends, let me ask you a question. We're seeing Muslims all over the country with these secret stashes of weapons just waiting for the day they can go out and kill people. What about your city? Are there Muslims in your city? If there are, how do you know that they don't also have a large box filled with weapons waiting to go out and kill you and your neighbors? What's that? You don't know? You can't possibly know? That's correct. You can't possibly know. We'll be back.
Beloved, do not believe every spirit, but test the spirit, whether they are God, because many false prophets have gone into the world. By this you will know the Spirit of God. Every spirit that confesses that Yeshua, Jesus, has come in the flesh is of God, and every spirit that does not confess that Yeshua, Jesus, has come in the flesh is not of God. And this is the spirit of the Antichrist, which you have already heard was coming and is now already in the world. 1 John 4:1.
No state shall enter into any treaty, alliance, or confederation, grant letters of marque or reprisal, coin money, emit bills of credit, make anything but gold and silver coin a tender in payment of debt, pass any bill of attainder, ex post facto law, or law impairing the obligation of contracts or grant any title of nobility. Article 1, Section 10. Thank them for doing a great job. Job and respect. Realize their job is sometimes thank you. Call 352-2032. Everybody else can take care. And Princess, the uniform people, instantly. Piccolo's restaurant in Denver reminds us that over 750 children were reported missing last year. Over 58,000 of these were abducted by non-family members. Keep an eye out for youngsters at play. If you see anything suspicious, contact the authorities immediately. This message from Piccolo's restaurant in Denver is not only best Italian Mexican cuisine, it's the people who care. Give them a call at 303-757-5166.
Item from InfoWars. Security at the Bravalla Music Festival has confirmed at least 11 sexual assaults so far of young girls, 3 of which have led to arrests. 1 rape was reported on Friday. Police say they've detained and interrogated 3 suspects in the sexual assault cases, but have not released any information on their backgrounds or identities, Swedish broadcaster SVT reports. Organizers of the festival, which has previously seen performances by Kanye West, Robbie Williams, and Iron Maiden, have confirmed they've called off next year's event due to the series of sexual assaults, unquote. So, my friends, you know that this is coming to America. How do you feel about it? When you won't be able to have concerts, music festivals, for fear of Muslims sexually assaulting girls, possibly your wife or daughter. How do you feel about it? What's that? You say you don't like it? Good. Get busy. Item from the New Hampshire Union Leader. A Congolese immigrant escaped prosecution on 6 domestic violence crimes when his lawyer convinced the city prosecutor he lacked the cultural competency to participate in the American justice system, according to court and public records reviewed by the New Hampshire Union Leader. The decision is one of several questionable actions highlighted late last month by Attorney General Gordon MacDonald in a widespread critique of domestic violence prosecutions in Manchester. MacDonald's critique led to the abrupt retirement of veteran city solicitor Tom Clark and has put Clark's office under heightened scrutiny. One questionable decision dealt with the case of Augustine Bahati, 33, who was arrested last August. According to court paperwork, he was accused of striking, pushing, grabbing, kicking, and pulling out the hair of a woman who was 27 weeks pregnant at the time. His case ended when Manchester prosecutor Andrea Muller, the domestic violence prosecutor singled out by MacDonald, dropped 6 misdemeanor charges against Bahati in early March. Unquote. My friends, these legislators we're talking about, they're all Democrats. And so the obvious message that's coming from Democrats is we care more about Muslim migrants than we do about women getting beaten. So now tell me about the Republican war on women. Item from memory. Egyptian cleric Abd al-Wahhab al-Maliki maintained that there were economic and health benefits to female circumcision. Speaking on the Egyptian Al-Seha Wal Jamal TV network, he said the Jews were the first to talk about it because, quote, they do not want Islam or the Muslims to be pure, developed, and civilized. And he cited the protocols of the elders of Zion in support of his argument. Unquote. My friends, ban Islam. Item from Reuters. 1 Rohingya Muslim man was killed and 6 wounded when they were attacked by a mob of Rakhine Buddhists in the capital of Myanmar's troubled northwestern Rakhine state on Tuesday. Tensions between minority Muslims and majority Buddhists have been running high in Rakhine since an army crackdown in response to Rohingya insurgent attacks in October. Unquote. My friends, let me assure you of one thing. This Rohingya Muslim man who was killed, he's not going to be waging jihad. of that, I feel relatively confident. I will be back in 23 hours, and I'll have more news, more videos, more insights, more analysis, and hopefully more motivation for you folks out in Radio Land and YouTube Land to get busy, get vocal, get active, and get and stay angry. I will see you tomorrow. Bye-bye.